There comes a moment in every man's life, usually in the middle of the night, usually alone, when the silence becomes louder than any voice he's ever heard. In that silence, a single thought arrives, a thought he's been running from for years, a thought so heavy, so brutal, that most men spend their whole lives building illusions just to avoid feeling it. The thought is this: nobody is coming. No rescue, no savior, no magical turn of events, no childhood hero arriving at the last second to lift the burden off your shoulders. Just you, alone with everything you've allowed yourself to become. This is not a tragedy. This is the beginning. But before it can become the beginning, you have to die first. Not your body. Something far more important. You have to bury the boy inside you who is still waiting for someone to choose him. For most of your life, you have been waiting. You don't see it that way. You think you've been working, trying, doing your best. But underneath the activity, the busy schedule, the small wins, the daily routines, something deeper has been happening. You've been waiting for the right moment, waiting for someone to notice, waiting for permission, waiting for the universe to hand you what you believe you're owed. You don't say it out loud. You don't even admit it to yourself. But every time you scroll instead of act, every time you delay the hard conversation, every time you let another year slip past, you are waiting. For something. For someone. For some sign that it's finally your turn. Here is the truth that destroys the illusion. There is no turn. There is no list. There is no waiting room with your name at the top. The universe is not keeping score. The universe is not paying attention. The universe is indifferent. And the people you've been quietly hoping would notice you, they're too busy waiting for someone to notice them. The father who never said he was proud, he is not coming. The mentor who would finally take you seriously, he is not coming. The opportunity that would prove you were special all along, it isn't coming. Every man eventually meets this realization. Most flinch, most turn away, most double down on the illusion, working harder at things that will never deliver what they're actually looking for. But a few, the few, sit with it. They let it burn. They let it destroy something inside them. And on the other side of that destruction, something new is born. The moment of realization is rarely dramatic. It doesn't arrive with fireworks. It arrives quietly, usually when you're doing something ordinary. You're driving home from work. You're staring at the ceiling at 3 a.m. You're watching your reflection in a window you've passed 1,000 times. And in that ordinary moment, something cracks. You see your life. Not the version you tell people about. Not the highlights you've curated. The actual life. The years that are gone. The promises to yourself you quietly broke. The man you said you would become. And the man you actually are. The gap between them is enormous, and no one is going to close it for you. This is the breaking point. And here's what most men do at it. They look away. They reach for distraction. Another tab, another bottle, another conversation that means nothing. Because facing the truth without armor is the most terrifying thing a man can do. The ancients called this the dark night of the soul. Modern men have no language for it. We have therapy and self-help and motivation videos. We don't have rituals for dissent. We don't have rituals for grief. So men make this descent alone, quietly, often without realizing what's happening to them. They think something is wrong with them. Depression, they say. burnout, a midlife crisis. But often it's none of those things. It's the soul demanding that something die, so something else can finally live. Most men refuse the death. They patch the cracks and keep going. They medicate the discomfort. They distract themselves until the moment passes. And then they wonder why they feel empty. Why nothing they achieve fills the hole. Why every milestone arrives smaller than they expected. The hole isn't out there. The hole is the place where the boy used to live. The boy who was waiting to be saved. He has to die before the man can be born. The awakening is not a feeling of triumph. It is a feeling of weight. When you truly realize nobody is coming, not as an idea, but as a truth that sinks into your bones, the first thing you feel is the full weight of your own life. Landing on your shoulders, every choice, every consequence, every direction, all of it, yours. Most men have never carried this weight. They've always shared it with imaginary partners, fate, luck, the right circumstances, the people who should have done more. Now those partners are gone. The weight is undivided. For a moment, this is unbearable. You'll want to hand it back. You'll look for someone to blame, someone to lean on, someone to make it easier. But there is nobody. And in that nobody, there is finally you. Not the version of you that's been performing for others. Not the version waiting to be approved. The actual you. Whatever you really are, underneath the performance. That is what now stands up. This is the moment a boy becomes a man. Not when he gets a job. Not when he finds someone. Not when he turns a certain age. But when he stops waiting to be saved and accepts the full burden of his own existence. And then a strange thing happens. The weight you feared was unbearable becomes the very thing that makes you strong. Shoulders that were never tested begin to broaden under the load. A spine that was never required to hold anything begins to learn what it can carry. You don't become a different man. You become the man you'd have been all along if you had stopped waiting 20 years ago. The new man is quieter. He talks less because he has less to prove. He doesn't need anyone to confirm what he now knows about himself. He stops asking the world to be fair. He stops asking other people to understand him. He stops hunting for the secret formula, the perfect mentor, the magic insight that will finally unlock his life. He has accepted that the only person who is ever going to do anything is him. And paradoxically, this is the exact moment his life begins to change. Because the energy that used to leak into waiting is now free for working. The hours once spent fantasizing are now spent building. The fear that used to paralyze him hasn't disappeared, but it no longer gets a vote. He moves slower in some ways, faster in others. He stops chasing things that were never his, and he starts building the things that are. Not because he got motivated. Motivation is a mood. It comes and goes. He became something deeper than motivated. He became responsible. The kind of responsibility you can't fake and can't outsource. This is the only freedom that exists for a man. Not freedom from responsibility. Freedom through responsibility. The freedom that comes when you stop arguing with reality and start working with it. Somewhere out there is a man you could become. He already exists as a possibility, waiting in the future. He is not going to walk into your life. He is not going to call you. He is not going to send a sign. The only way you will ever meet him is to become him. And he is built from one decision, repeated daily. The decision to stop waiting, to stop hoping for rescue, to stop performing, to accept that nobody is coming, and to walk into your own life carrying the full weight of your own existence. The day you realize nobody is coming to save you is the day you finally become someone worth being saved by. Yourself. This is Obscura. Clarity through darkness.